Some think there's nothing beyond what is known. But I came from nothing. I took the opportunity to forge my own destiny. I will make the stars tell me their secrets and bring these planets to their knees when I know everything. All the power in creation will be within my grasp.
It's swirling with color. It's full of battling spaceships. It's star nebula far, far away. It's a beautiful place.
To me, I mean, like, as a human being, space is the final frontier, and as a magic designer, space has always also been the final frontier because we've never done anything before like this.
It's not like a small place we haven't been before. It's really huge and so unknown.
The Edge of Eternities is really at the edge of the multiverse.
The way that our amazing world building team has explained this to me is if you imagine the multiverse like an orange, the edge is the rind. So it's this thin layer on the very outside of the blind eternities.
And it's a little peek into a part of Magic's lore that has kind of been known for a long time, but also has been very unknown, this blind eternity space.
We weren't bound by any of the normal restrictions that we often have when we're returning to an old Magic plane that has a specific mechanical identity. Here, it's like, we're going to space. We've never been to space before. There is infinity exciting stuff to do here.
It's not just that anything can be out there, it's kind of that everything is.
We're in uncharted territory. We are expanding what anyone can imagine that Magic the game can be, that Magic the worlds can be.
Whenever Magic goes to a new kind of setting, there's this enormous untapped well of concepts that we've never done before that we get to do for the first time.
What it means to have planets, what it means to have ships, and kind of creating those things in the language of Magic.
So there is a storyline happening while a lot of stuff is also happening in the background. So the main storyline follows Sammy and their crew of misfits.
And the whole system here is revolving around a void called Sothera.
There is a faction of monks who worship this black hole and are trying to feed it and eventually have it consume the entire universe.
The super void at the center, as well as 5 planets. And each of those 5 planets are aligned to a different color of mana in Magic. And all of those 5 planets sort of express their identity through what that color is about.
And that's something that we really wanted to do with Edge of Eternities, was to really get the sense of this large scale, like space opera. We wanted it to feel vast.
We get to tap into our vision of outer space, right? Like, physics doesn't apply to Magic.
Planets don't necessarily have to be round. You have planets here that have like turned into like corkscrew shapes, or some of them have like holes through the center of them or blasted into bits, but they're still keeping their shape in orbit.
In a science fantasy set like this, scale is such an important thing.
Space is big, so we kind of let loose with the numbers a little bit, found ways to get double-digit numbers onto cards.
Maybe even bigger than Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, but I'm not going to spoil that yet.
Even when we go to a new place, we want to connect to Magic.
We decided to put a lot of lands in this set to really give players a chance to like have the full experience on the table in their battlefield with this new setting.
I was really excited when I started to work on the set to see that Tezzeret, our old friend, the evil artificer, was in the file. It's such a perfect setting for him.
Yeah, so Tezzeret's here. Tezzeret got a little bit of a facelift. He's looking pretty badass.
Another great way that we connect Magic and the Edge of Eternities is through creature types, right? Kavu are returning, for fans of Kavu out there. Slivers, of course. I know there's so many fans of Slivers, Eldrazi. You see these creatures that you've seen on Dominaria and the other planes of Magic, but now we've brought them to the Edge of Eternities.
One of my favorite cards in Magic is Tarmogoyf. Now that I was working on the space set, I could live my reality of Tarmogoyf, space, Cosmogoyf.
And that just, really captures the feel of, hey, we are in outer space now. All right, what is, outer space version of a Lurgoyf?
So from the onset of trying to design Edge of Eternities, I always knew that I wanted the large common flyer to be a space whale. They're in so many different kinds of media, and I always find it so silly, it's so awesome at the same time.
Look, it's a flying whale. That's really cool.
There are so many named characters and so many named factions and so many different kinds of ships and different kinds of planets, and it really gives you this sense that you're living in a universe that is more massive than you could have ever imagined.
Right?
I've not seen any of these yet.
So excited.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
I love the way the space dragons turned out.
Yeah, space dragons with weird multiple eyes.
Alert, Cosmogoy. Recommended action, run. Well, you just need to open some more packs.
I'm working on it. I'm going slow. I'm savoring it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As someone on the world building team, it's always really exciting to be able to bridge that gap between the world building we've done and the mechanics we see on the card.
When you're saying, hey, we're doing an outer space world, like, of course you're gonna have planets. Of course you're gonna have spacecraft. It's science fantasy at its heart and bringing that to life.
So to me, space is about exploration and being an optimist about what I could see. It's also about the vast amount of distances required to travel it. The scale, the size, look how big these things are, while also having the harsh reality of space being extremely unforgiving, and it's dangerous. And we have 4 mechanics in the set that each reflect one of those things.
So station is our mechanic that is kind of representing the huge objects in space.
There are 2 new subtypes in Edge of Eternities. There's spacecraft and planet. And at certain thresholds, that permanent will do special things. If it's a spacecraft, it'll be a big creature, and if it's a planet, it'll unlock an awesome ability.
The mechanic works similar to kind of vehicles or mounts where you are paying in your creature's power at sorcery speed to kind of turn them on. But unlike those, you are gathering counters over time until you reach a threshold and unlock the abilities on the card.
Here's a big, splashy new mechanic that gives you a sense of enormous scale.
You put all this effort into it, but now that power is at your disposal is a really fun feeling.
Of course, with land being such an instrumental part of a fun game, we wanted something to capture, once again, this feeling of discovery, right?
Lands are representing the exploration of new places, which is really core to the genre, and artifacts are representing technology, and the lander is really the marriage of those two things.
Lander is a new token that we're introducing. All you have to do is pay 2 mana and sacrifice it, and then you search your library for any basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped.
Is kind of similar to other token mechanics that we've done, like clues or treasures. In the set, it ties into landfall as a returning mechanic, and letting you make multiple land drops and really playing with that theme of discovery and exploring new stuff.
And then we have the warp mechanic to really evoke how far people have to travel in space at light speed. They show up, they're gone.
Warp is a mechanic that allows you to play the card from your hand for its warp cost, and then you get it temporarily. You have it for this turn only. At the end of turn, it leaves, goes, hangs out in exile, and then you can pay the full retail version later on. It's kind of a variant on adventure or similar mechanics like that, except here you are playing the same thing twice.
And so it warps in, those will have enter effects, which are typically good, and then it warps out for you to cast it later. And then that combos so well with Void because Void is a very straightforward mechanic that says, hey, when things leave, I give you a reward.
So Void is a mechanic that cares about things leaving the battlefield, or if you have warped a card this turn. It checks both of those things, and it's just a pretty clean upgrade if you manage to make your stuff leave the battlefield before you play these cards.
Really powerful, really straightforward, makes for some really fun combos. This is the Edge of Eternities. This is what magic means when it's in outer space.
All right, here we go. The ship, the Surima.
You got the Surima?
I did it.
It's a rad looking ship.
Did you find when you work with artists on this set that they were like super psyched for it?
Oh, yes.
Right? Because they hadn't been able to paint these things for Magic?
Like way more than usual. We had people reaching out and being like, I want to be on the space set.
Yeah.
A lot of our artist pool doesn't normally get to work on space. Spaceships, planets, things that are large in scope.
You know, reaching out to them and saying like, hey, I have an assignment. And there was like rumors that the artists always kind of talk to each other. So they were like kind of waiting for it. And they were like, yes, it's finally here.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had as large a number of the artist pool as excited to work on a particular plane or setting as this one.
The booster fun is just so incredible. The colors that it brings to Magic.
The lands just hit differently here. I think like there's something about the vertical format that we don't normally get with a regular Magic set, because here space goes in all directions. So like it plays well to that vertical card art.
There's so many like beautiful space vistas where like you just see the curve of the planet on the card, and then you can see like ships fighting in front of it.
There's little spaceships zooming through, and the team really knocked it out of the park, just bringing lands to life. Whoa, breeding pool!
That's exciting.
That is so beautiful. We brought in the shock lands, which brings them into standard. Super exciting for that reason.
The borderless viewport lands were this moment of you've just landed on a new planet and you're still on your spaceship and the door is opening, the ramp is descending. So we kind of incorporated the interior of the ship as the frame. But then the art is just this like window, and who's kind of framed and looking out the window becomes exciting. Just a lot of really good storytelling opportunities.
So we have a cycle of returning lands here, and I sort of pulled some little nuggets that I was seeing and turned it into a consistent chronicle across them that basically just explores moons. Flavor text is a really fascinating storytelling tool. It gives you those little windows into the world. I like the idea that it was a peek into a grander universe.
The flavor text really gives you this sense of a world that is enormously expansive.
When you crack open a pack, you can kind of land anywhere in the midst of what's going on.
Check it out. I got Celestial Colonnade.
Ooh.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, Borderless Stellar Sights card. I love the font that the title's in. It really captures that outer space vibe.
Yeah. Borderless stellar sights, what we really wanted to do was we wanted to reduce the footprint of the frame on the cards. We did that by taking the title down into the bottom half of the card. And then along the sides with the frame, it's kind of like a star chart, giving you that explorative feeling to it.
You get all these like cool, crazy planetary shapes and asteroids and spaceships and things that frame showcases very well. And the borderless poster stellar sights are probably one of my favorite treatments we've ever done.
The roots of this art style are these like travel posters that kind of came out of the 1930s.
It's just this really interesting juxtaposition of a kind of anachronistic and nostalgic travel poster style with the super new and novel and futuristic science fantasy setting. That combination is a little bit dissonant, but in a way that's really interesting and cool and looks really new.
The borderless surreal space treatment definitely hits a lot of that classic Magic vibe.
Honestly, that's my favorite thing I've worked on at Magic ever. The art influences behind it, we dipped really heavily into kind of 1970s science fiction art. They're so like surreal and ethereal.
And especially in like such a bright palette that we have here across all the like galactic clouds and whatnot, it was just vibing with a lot of people in a way that I haven't seen before.
The Borderless Triumphant cards were kind of a labor of love and a really fun idea we had. It's where someone is exploring space and they're like looking out, and then they're framed by basically a circle, which could be a moon or a planet. And so each piece has a very similar composition.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, man.
You guys, it's one of the Borderless Triumphants.
Oh, that's amazing.
This is a lobster chef. So see, he's tossing his little mushrooms.
Listen, I am very familiar with the lobster chef.
Because didn't you paint one for the main set?
I did.
My favorite element of this painting is he's got an extra pair of hands, so he's able to hold this sprig of thyme just like very daintily.
And I like the idea of him serving up nuts and bolts style like food.
There's a jello that's got like a whole rusty gear stuck in the top.
Having just little bits of levity like that here and there, I think can be very good for a set. You don't want it to be too one note. Lobster guy making gross food, like, Zach, way to go.
Now it's my turn to open.
Okay.
I'm excited. Check it out. Right? Amazing Sliver Overlord.
Stealing that from you in the parking garage.
No.
I'll tell you a secret about the Borderless special guest cards. I would have made the whole set look like that if there weren't smarter people around me to like calm me down a little bit. But that pulp cover style, the idea of people in the 1950s, what they thought the future was gonna look like, because really like the influence of the creature design at that time was monster movies. People in suits like waving their arms around really awkwardly. And so like the creatures are just like goofy and funny, and you know, all of the fun typography. That series is just one of my favorite things. For the Japanese Showcase Fracture Foil, it was a really exciting opportunity to highlight the art the more kind of like anime flavored art style that we use on those cards. And the fracture foil is perfect for that because it's sort of really dynamic and really highlights the movement and the big monsters and all the excitement that's going on in those cards.
It's just so bold to see it in a pack. Like you're immediately going to stop on that one when you open a pack of them.
And Galaxy Foil is back for this set. It was kind of a no-brainer. Again, we knew from the beginning, you know, it's such a fun effect. It's such a beautiful substrate. And if we're in space and we can have the art have stars and then the substrate have stars, like it's just such a fun, perfect moment.
I have never seen it look better, and fans are absolutely going to go nuts for it.
So can I just show this one off just because the lands turned out so good in foil.
When they catch the light.
Yeah.
Another Galaxy
Look
Foil.
at that.
Right? Galaxy Foil Swamp.
Oof.
Right?
These look so good.
Yeah.
To achieve the magic look in the art, really, like the way we do that is we work with really incredibly skilled professional artists. So many of them are fans, so many of them are passionate. It blows my mind how many of them there are. It seems impossible to me that so many talented people could work for this game.
Kieran, how long have you been painting for Magic?
For Magic, I think since 2005, around then.
So you did concepting for Edge of Eternities, right?
Yes, a lot of the key art characters and then weapons and stuff like that. So I love fantasy, science fiction, space opera. That was really exciting to work on. And
Kieran has something to show you.
oh yeah,
Are you excited?
a little bit.
Look, it's your cards from the set.
That's cool.
Aren't they beautiful?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your work is so polished and incredible.
I always love giving you glowy stuff. Just
Yeah.
the way you manage the colors around the glows.
Oh, cool.
Especially for this set, just all these like purples and blues that are blending.
Yeah, warms versus cools, darks versus lights. Try to have the silhouette kind of standing out, not getting lost.
Let's get into it with this.
Now for real,
I'm gonna
I think
This
that's
effect that you have here.
I really love water and organic materials. There's just a lot of play that you can do. So you can kind of really get into kind of noodle heaven, I guess.
Yeah.
Being able to sort of undulate through colors and
Yeah, this is like the perfect set for you too. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
the space kind of acts like a liquid too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it really does. Sammy. Yeah. Getting to work on Sammy was awesome. Similar to Alphareal, kind of wanted their expression to be, pensive, almost troubled, I guess, in a way. Like,
yeah, sure. It's so exciting to see 3 brand new characters from Magic.
it is, yeah.
yeah, you do a lot of character work for us, but I gotta say you totally nailed these.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Endstone.
The Endstone?
Beautiful.
Look at that.
Wow.
That's killer. That's
Look
an
at
oil
that.
painting.
That looks useful.
And once you have it out, you're going to win the game.
Sure hope so.
Yeah.
Something that Andrew Brown, who is the lead designer of the set, often says is that our sets are way better when we have fun making them. And I really believe that to be true.
I see it every day how much passion all my coworkers pour into this. We love Magic so much. Most of us got here because we love Magic.
Edge of Eternities is magic in space. It's like all the things you want from Magic, but you're on a spaceship and there's an alien chasing you, and maybe there's an alien in your co-pilot seat and he's your best friend.
That vibrancy, that richness of when you see something, you pick up a card and you're like, whoa. Right. That moment, to me, that makes it all worthwhile.
It's going to feel like they're traveling really far away, but it's going to feel like home for them at the same time.
I hope fans are excited to see it. I really do.
The promise of space means so many different things to so many different people, and it's new places, it's new things, it's new people, it's new planets.
And so I hope that that feeling of expansiveness and the care and creativity that was put into crafting the scale of the setting really comes across. And I hope that the Edge is a place that fans love to visit for the first time, and also that our first visit sort of piques their interest to see more, because we've built this environment in such a way that there's so much more to discover.